Okay, so people, The Bride. This is the brand new film from Maggie Gyllenhaal. This is a second effort, right? She directed A Daughter way back in 2021, which we looked at during the London Film Festival that year. Yeah. So yes, she writes, she directs, she also produces the film along with Osnat Handelsman Karen, uh, Talia Klinheden Hedler, um, Emma Tillinger Koskov. It is executive produced by Pete Chippetta, Courtney Kovowitz, Andrew Larry, Carla Raj, Anthony Titanegro, and David Webb. And we have got Matt Kuwawa as an associate producer. Hildur Gudundotter took care of the score. Cinematography is handled by Lawrence Sher. Dylan Tichnor edits the piece, with Douglas Abel on casting. Production design is Karen Murphy. Art direction is Angelica Barrera, Nifia Shiranvasan, and Marie-Line Wagner. Set decoration is Rena D'Angelo. Wardrobe costumes are Sandy Powell. Hair and makeup, we have Vanessa Anderson, Roberto Bees, Michael Boonin Contro, Jason Collins, Lee Patrick Devlin, Jane De Peresio, Jason Doherty, Sunday Inglis, Christine Fennell, Monique Gaffney, Kay Gorgio, Sue Ginsburg, Jimmy Good, Laurie Goodrose, Samuel James, Nikki Lederman, Chris Lyons, Jacqueline Mackey, Richard Orton, Oscar, Scott H. Reeder, Stella Sensel, Hilary Shawn, Nadia Stacy, Brian Wutzka, Rachel White, Diana Choi, and Gaiety Williams. So on stunts, we have Frank Alfano, Donnie Bailey, Bryce Biederman, Michael C. Brennan, Bryce Burke, Connor Dedrick, Natalie Diaz, Jake Evie, Mark Fitzgerald, Jared Freneck, Eric Fuchs, Jodie Pin Gabry, Trisha Gurin, Michael Gida, Benji Harris, Donald John Hewitt, Marush Kubicki, Josh Lakotos, Drew Leary, Luke Lesko, Lara McKen, Alexa Marcel Gilinio, Aki Martin, Anthony Mecca, Jason Mello, Louise Mocco, Christopher Place, Thomas Place, Diego Pope, Stephen A. Pope, Drew Reddy, Ben Residins, Hannah Scott, Adam Shippey, Brandon Allen Smith, Aaron Vexler, Lena Vosk, Sonia Waya, Diana Up Warner, and Adam Wood. So our cast, right? We have got Annette Bening as Dr. Cornelia Euphronius. I think that's how you say it. Her assistant Greta is played by Janine Berlin. We then have got Christian Bale as Frank, right? AKA the monster, right? Because Frankenstein is the doctor, you know. So the bride, Ida, right, is played by Jessie Buckley. Buckley also plays Mary Shelley. Okie dokie. We got Penelope Cruz as Miami Mallory. She works with Jake Willis, played by Peter Sarsgaard, right, the police detective. We've got Maggie's brother, Jake Gyllenhaal, as Ronnie Reed, an actor. There is John Magaro as Clyde. Matthew Meyer as James. They both work for Lapino, right? Lapino is played by Zalko Burick. He is a mob boss. We have Iris Jinx, played by Juliana Howe. She's an actress that works with Ronnie Reed. There is Officer Goodman, played by Louise Cancelmi. Fever Ray are also in the film. I think they're at the bar doing the music. I think that's the most of the cast, I would say. I believe so. Right. The gist of the story is Dr. Frankenstein's lonely monster travels to 1930s Chicago to seek the aid of a Dr. Euphronius in creating a companion for him. The doctor reinvigorates a murdered young woman and the bride is born. She is beyond what either of them intended, igniting a combustible romance, the attention of the police, and a wild and radical social movement. Okie dokie. So this is, yeah, obviously, right? It's based on Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and also the 1935 film The Bride of Frankenstein, which was also based on Frankenstein. It's a little confusing. I haven't seen Bride of Frankenstein. I don't think I have. I watched so many things, man, back in the day. But yeah, I was very curious to check this out, right? Because I thought Maggie did a decent job with the daughter. So, she's a great actress. So I thought, let's see what she does with the bride, right? Because we've had all of these kind of recent interpretations, right? People trying to do a thing. And then you've got Dracula, they're bringing the mummy back. So it's a resurgence in these properties. So it's just like, what could this new take be? I think aesthetically, the film looks good, right? It looks pretty good. It's, this kind of, I don't know, it kind of feels like that in-between time. You know what I mean? Those midnight hours. It has that kind of weird aesthetic to it, I felt. Like, the cast were good. I did think we got very good performances from, like, Buckley, Bale, Bening, Annette Bening. Yeah, Bening. Skarsgård. Do you know what I mean? Like, we get these good performances. where I was like, the story was a little bit, I don't know, it felt kind of disjointed to me, right? Because we have like this narration and we see this woman, right? It's Mary Shelley, and she's talking about, she wanted to tell another story, but she died. But she has to possess someone, which is then, okay, wait, how does she, You know what I mean? You're just like, I don't know how she's possessing someone. Like, what is this? Right? Why aide? Like, that all felt a bit random and weird. I'm not gonna lie, you know? And then, right, the kind of reaction of Ida in the, like, all of that was a little bit odd, you know? And it's kind of like, was the stairs an accident? Was it like, you know, it was all a little bit muddied, I kind of feel. Which, then makes the rest of the story kind of confusing, you know? Right? So we got the monster, old Frankie boy, going to the doctors. Now, one thing that was, I was not sure about, and nothing on the film or anything like that, but every time people saw Frank, like when Greta walks into the room, she screams after looking at Frank. I have no clue what they're screaming at, right? Because I'm kind of just seeing this outline of a guy. I can't really see the detail of the face, right? So I didn't know. Were there marks on the face? Like, what was it that people were screaming at, right? There's not everyone screaming at. So I was a little confused by all of that. But, you know, it is what it is. But then, when you have that reaction, it did make me wonder why Frank kept on going outside. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, wait, why are people screaming at Frank? And why does he keep on going outside if that is an issue? You know what I mean? Because if that's an issue, you don't want to draw attention to yourself, especially after certain shit, right? So it's all a little bit like, So there is that. I wasn't quite sure what was going on with the bride, right? Because she seemed to have a black mark above her lip. And I was like, can you wipe that? Like, what is that? Right? I wasn't quite clear what that was. It's because, yeah, you know, it seemed, I don't know, because I know there was like marks on her arms, right? So was that related to those? I wasn't quite sure. It wasn't really clear. Now, as I said, like when you take the acting away from the story itself, it seemed the acting was good. Right? We had very kind of these emotive performances, loud and brash and big, you know, which kind of works within the context of these monsters brought back to life, right? These monsters people brought back to life, right? So in that context, you think, but there were these like outbursts as if Frank and Ida had Tourette's. I have no clue what that was about, right? It was these weird things, which is just like, okay, why though, right? It wasn't necessarily clear, right? So you're just kind of having these, like Ida especially, just suddenly making noises and saying things, and you're just like, what is all of this? You know? It just became this muddled, it kind of just felt like this muddled thing crafted together like Frankenstein's monster, right? So we have all of these different components, you know, and not necessarily a clear outcome, because you then have this other kind of side story of the mob boss from the very start, right? You have corrupt police, which are corrupt, because, you know, at times it kind of seemed every police person was corrupt, and then it's just like, wait, but are those corrupt? Like, so all of these different things going on. I don't know. Like, sometimes you watch things and you think, am I missing something? You know what I mean? Am I missing something here? Right? I didn't think I was, but the film just didn't, it didn't really make any sense to me. Right? You have these components that are done well, but as a whole, I was a little bit underwhelmed. You know? Was a little bit underwhelmed. So, and especially the ending of it all, right? You have this kind of movement, but why? You know? Obviously, these horrendous things are being done to people, let's just say, which is all well and good, but it doesn't seem that everyone is outraged by it, right? So it's just like, yeah, are we doing things because it sounds cool, right? Or, I don't know. It would be interesting to hear Maggie talk on this, but I don't know. I think this is one of those films that will make some people be like, yo, okay, and others are just, yeah, like me, underwhelmed, right? That's what I think this is. It's probably one of those Marmite things. You either love it or you hate it. There's not going to be middle ground here, but it is out in cinemas if you want to go and check it out, right? So, yeah, people, The Bride.